Welcome
Hey, look,
back
it's the
to...
flu crew.
Literally couldn't resist, could you?
We have to get this season done so I can stop doing that.
Oh my god, let's film like 6 episodes in a row then. But welcome back to another episode of Repressed Humor Issues, the longest season we've ever tried to record.
Yeah,
There's
and
a
you might
reason for
notice.
that.
Yeah, well, first Jet Boy had to go all over the place, and then both of us have managed to be sick the last week.
Easily, yeah. I mean, it
Yeah,
might even have it started developing beyond that, to be fair.
yeah. I'm technically on day 8 that I knew I'm sick. So
Yeah, and I'm on day 4, I guess, but
yes, but
we
not
had
as
to
sick.
come.
Not as
What?
sick as Tucker Carlson calling Trump daddy.
What? How did I miss
Yes.
that?
Oh, it happened yesterday. He was talking about how people need a spanking. And they started referring to Trump with a chant that was like DDLG warrior.
What? What's? I don't even know what that means.
It's a bondage thing.
Oh God.
Yes. So
Uh,
it's all spiraling off the rails at this point.
but I will say that before we dive into this further, we did have to come back despite our whatever is going on in our bodies for our adoring fans that have been clamoring. Where have Dan and Ryan been? So we're
Yes,
back.
that is a plural.
Yeah, there is an S in there. Yeah.
So you're going to hear some rough voices. You're going to hear some coughing. We're not going to edit it out. You're just going to have to deal with it. It's the state of affairs at this particular moment. If you think it's a problem, you come do this. So I have something else I have to tell you, Ryan. Do you remember on The Office what Ryan's nickname was? He was the intern.
Yeah.
I'm going to start calling you the intern because if you don't start picking it up here and doing some more of this work, you're very temporary.
What work?
Oh, I had to go and get Stephen Hawkins lined up again, and I had to get our TikTok and chill lined up for the end. And
yeah, you're the master of the audio. I sit here.
yes, I know. That's all you do is sit here. Okay, so you're the intern from now on.
Didn't he have another nickname though?
No, he was just Ryan.
Oh,
It was Dwight that always called him the intern.
oh, that's right. That's right. Oh man, I miss. Wait, I've heard rumor that they're going to bring that back. Is that any validity to that?
They say that every once in a while. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not because Stephen Carell is still a little bit bitter over what happened. And if you bring back the old writers, how do you bring back Stephen Carell, and why bother if you can't bring back Stephen Carell? You can't have Ricky Gervais do it. You can't have Stephen Merchant do it.
No. And by the way, they also called him Temp.
The temp, well, even better. You're the temp.
Ah.
You had to go look it up. You had to put it in my brain. Ryan from now on is the temp.
Look, you're the expert guru on The Office, so I thought you would have known.
Yeah, I'm the expert guru on fluids coming out of my body at this moment.
Fair. And exceedingly extreme fatigue.
Yeah.
I think that's been the wildest thing that you've had. I mean, some of that's like comes with the territory, right? But the fatigue is like the unexplainable.
Yeah. Well, they told me at first that I had norovirus, which norovirus lasts 2 to 3 days, 4 at the most, and I'm on day 8. I did a COVID test. It's not COVID.
Yeah, I did that too.
There wasn't even a hint of COVID. Ryan and I haven't been in the same room in months, so we didn't infect each other.
Nope.
So this is just, I figure it's the flu. I figure I just caught the flu really bad because I haven't caught the flu in decades. So I had 0 antibodies.
I normally don't get vaccinated for the flu, but I opted to this time because where to go? Walgreens, they were offering it for free. So I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Just inoculate me. Go for it.
Well, the flu this year, there's actually two variants, and they're just as prominent, and you can only get inoculated against one of the two.
Right.
And if the other one hits, it hits just as bad as if you weren't inoculated
Yeah.
whatsoever.
It's wild.
So, do we want to get in this? It's because Stephen Hawking doesn't want to be around us any longer than he has to.
Let's let Stephen Hawking have his moment.
Here we go.
The word of the day is illness.
Yeah, we're going to talk all about our illnesses. This will be probably the shittiest show we do.
I thought we could have, in hindsight, we could have called this sickness and then talked about disturb and getting down with it.
And that's why you wonder why I call you the Temp.
Come on, that was all right.
So here's the thing. Both Ryan and I have a problem. It manifests itself the same way, but it appears because of a different symptom. I've talked about this before. I have what's called aphasia, which means when I close my eyes, I see black. That's all I see. Okay, I can't say I want to visualize an apple in front of me and have an apple there. I can understand what an apple looks like. I get the concept of an apple, but I can't see the apple. Now you have the opposite thing.
Yeah, I can picture it perfectly. As you're saying it, I can visualize.
Yeah. So my problem with my aphasia is that in the middle of the night, when I close my eyes, my mind is going 7,000 miles an hour because it has nothing to stop it. Okay, because it's narrating the dark, which means every noise, every flicker of light, everything that goes on in the room, my mind is keenly attuned to the point that I have insomnia so bad. Yesterday was the first night I got a good night's sleep in probably about 5 or 6 days.
What the fuck do you have going on in your room? A disco ball with a techno studio in the background? I mean, how many things have to be going off in your bedroom?
So our clock that we've been playing a game called Daylight Savings Chicken with, which basically means how long could we actually wait until daylight savings time finished its cycle and not have to adjust our clock? Well, our clock's battery went dead. Well, it didn't go dead. It died. And the clock kept on trying to move the second hand, but it was clicking. Okay, so that clicking was going on. The smoke detector in our room has a light that once every 30 seconds blinks 3 times. I know this because I've counted it. I don't know. All I know is that it does it.
That probably means it's low on battery. Why don't you replace the 9-volt?
No, because then you get the ding when it's low on battery, and I don't get the ding.
That's so when it's out of battery and it's running off backup electricity.
Well, it never dinged, so the battery never went dead. So I haven't replaced it. It flashes. It always has. So, and then my wife sleeping. We both snore. Her not nearly as bad as me, but every single move that she makes is just amplified.
Every breath she takes.
Every move she makes. Yeah. Docker song, good one. You're just in a music kick today, aren't you?
That's for some reason. I don't know.
But then we have the cats that come in and out of the room all the time. We have a special thing on the door so that they can get in and out at night so they don't feel trapped and then shit all over the bedroom floor.
Why don't you just leave the door open?
When my daughter's over, we're just used to closing the door because it's just a privacy level. There's too many other worldly beings in this house. And then we have the chinchillas that have a wheel that makes a whole bunch of noise that they only go on that thing at night. So I hear that. There's just all sorts of ways for me to be able to get mentally stimulated, even though I have my eyes closed.
And the barrage of TikToks that you share with me.
Well, that's because I can't get to sleep that you get that barrage of TikToks.
You've sent some good ones though. I whatever the hell you sent me today was hilarious. I can't
I
remember.
don't even remember.
Yeah, I can't either. But I just remember laughing my ass off in between
Yeah.
meetings. So,
But so that's what happens with me. What happens with you in your insomnia?
well, I have a Google brain, so like mine is. If I am sleeping, I can wake up from a or a deep sleep and wonder, how are I don't know, post-it notes made, and I'll have to go research it in that moment for my brain to be able to calm back down enough to go to bed. Wait, are
Hmm.
you referring to something?
No, no, it's just
Oh,
you
okay.
talked about how your brain won't turn off either, but mine is turning on to fill in the gaps that the aphasia doesn't let me see
Yeah.
anything, and yours is just narrating other things going on in your brain.
Yeah, my brain is constantly narrating like to-do lists, but also like bleeding in with the dreams I'm having, so they crisscross. Sometimes I'll wake up very confused because I'll be like, "Ooh, I have that task for this customer that is a walrus. What?"
See, and I always can tell when it's a dream because I can't visualize, which means I know that it's a dream. If I wake up, I know it had to have been a dream.
Yeah, there are times it depends. I don't honestly don't know what triggers that certain type of dream state where you wake up and you're convinced that an event has transpired or something has already happened, and
Yeah.
it takes a while to pull yourself out of it. Like I woke up maybe 2 nights ago, and I announced, and it was my husband was already up, but I announced I was like, and that's why you get a wedding coordinator. And he goes, dreaming, huh? And I go, I guess so.
My favorite one was I had a dream that these turkeys were trying to break into my bedroom and they're just banging on the door. Eventually broke the door open and surrounded my bed. There's thousands of turkeys. And I woke up, literally said gobble gobble gobble, and then went back to sleep.
Out loud, you said that.
I said gobble gobble gobble. Yes.
Oh my God.
So, but I also had a dream that I took my daughter. This is fever dreams because one of the things that I've been having is incredibly bad sweating at night, like just drenched. And I had a dream that I took my daughter to Saudi Arabia to visit her grandmother. Now,
Oh, you told me about this.
yeah, my mother does not live in Saudi Arabia. Okay, she lives in Canada.
Does
Um,
anyone live in Saudi Arabia?
I don't know a single person that lives in Saudi
All right.
Arabia.
We got that out there.
Yes. But at the same time, um, it was a country road that had a pasture on it, that it was pouring rain in the desert of Saudi Arabia. Okay, that was where we ended up. And
So
I,
strange.
nothing seemed out of place about it in the dream itself until I took my daughter to a department store. And it was like an old 50s type department store where it had the rickety stairs and, it wasn't all open like it is today. And somehow I ended up losing her. Now, in my dream, she was much younger than what she is today. But I lost her and I was freaking out. And they brought me upstairs to be able to talk to people to see if we could find my daughter. And there's people pitching movie scripts back and forth. And one of them was Paul Rudd.
Oh yeah, I was like, who was the celebrity that you told me was there?
Yeah, he was just there with the other people. Like nobody cared. He was pitching like Toy Story 5.
But that's
I have
coming
no
out.
idea why Paul Rudd was pitching Toy Story 5, but he was in the middle of this group. And then, of course, somebody says, okay, come along with me. We'll find your daughter. I start going down the stairs. And as I'm doing it, parts of my clothing are getting ripped off. And by the time I get to the bottom, I have a towel around my waist, a cell phone in one hand, and my wallet in the other hand. And there's nobody around.
Sounds like a making of a porno.
Well, I don't want to know what pornos involve people being by themselves because that's more webcam stuff than it is pornos.
Yeah, it's just like solo action.
Yeah, that's webcam stuff.
Well, I don't know. It could be security footage, like, what do you call that? Mm,
You're
voyeuristic.
really, you're,
Voyeuristic.
you're really, really, really trying to make my dream into a porno.
I already did.
No, you didn't. I already said that's a webcam.
I didn't go into detail.
Yeah, well, and this is one of those recurring dreams that I have is I'll go somewhere and suddenly I'll be in way less clothing than I'm supposed to be in. I'll have a towel or a blanket wrapped around me that is the only thing covering me, and nobody is paying attention to me whatsoever.
It's strange. What does that mean? Like, because I've had dreams analyzed before, just out of curiosity by like a therapist and stuff like that. Um, I had one where my childhood teddy bear, this is when I was a teenager, my childhood teddy bear, I was on some platform, like futuristic platform, and I was shooting fireworks off the edge of it. And the childhood teddy bear comes up and grabs the satchel that I have all the fireworks in and sprints away up another flight of stairs away from me. And that was the metaphor that the therapist said, was that was my childhood running away from me.
Okay.
That I was letting go of I was growing distant from my own childhood and I was maturing. And that was my childhood trying to draw me back.
I don't remember ever having a dream where I could honestly say that my childhood has escaped me, which worries me because I'm worried that my childhood hasn't escaped me yet.
I don't think it has.
Yeah. I'm way too immature for me to be beyond childhood. I get it.
But I guess I am too, though, to be fair.
But you're already having the dreams about your childhood running away from you. I'm not.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Now it's just like fart jokes.
Oh, well, we'll get there in a minute. But
oh, come on, spare me.
Oh, no. I got to tell you, but we're going to talk about some of the things that some of the tracks my mind took me down.
You don't have to tell us anything.
Oh,
that's the reality.
But I do. But now I completely forgot the other thing that I was going to talk about. See, you distracted me from the thing that was an answer to something that you said. Oh, I know what it was. About me being immature. Yes. The people we were in the meeting with today earlier.
Yeah.
They forgot to call you Yolanda.
That's okay.
When you got there.
That's okay. If you had all of them calling me Yolanda, I was going to be very concerned.
Yeah.
I was ready for it, but I was late as shit to that meeting. But
yeah. So there's the dream side of it, but then there's also what your mind does when you're stuck awake. Okay. And my mind starts coming up with logical analogies for things. Now realize that whatever I've had for a bug has completely destroyed my trust in my farts. Okay. I did not soil myself. I have not, but I just don't trust it based off of what's come out of me.
Is it because I made a suggestion on Facebook and you took me up on it? And that's why you don't. Oh, okay.
Nope. I just went to the bathroom every single time I had to pass gas. So, but in making analogies, I had this analogy that I was working through. It took me like 3 hours the other night. And yes, I sat there for 3 hours to come up with this. Imagine as a small boy, your only role in life is to roll rocks down this hill. You roll the rock, you go down to the bottom of the rock, you pick it back up. And your entire goal in that is to not have the rock hit the family or the house that lives right in the way of where you have to roll this rock. So you spend a good portion of your life carving these detours that the rock never, ever, ever goes near the family. Then you have that one time you get a little bit older and you're rolling that rock and it rides the ridge of the grooves that you've built perfectly and just smokes the family car with grandma on it.
Where is this fucking going?
Okay, imagine this is what trusting my farts is like now, because The one time that it smoked grandma, well, that was purely accidental. But now I'm supposed to know better. So if I roll that rock again and it takes out a family of 6, that's on me because I've already been warned. So what do I do now? Do I roll a rock every once in a while just to test? Or do I never roll a rock anywhere near that family, even though that's the perfect place to roll rocks down the hill?
It sounds like you avoid it.
But it's the perfect place to roll rocks down the hill.
Yeah, I don't think you chance it, though.
But it's the perfect place to roll rocks down the hill. Like, they squiggle, but they always get down to the bottom. They don't get stuck in the grass or the trees. It's perfectly worn. There's a couple of bounces in there. I mean, it's the perfect rock rolling place.
Maybe in like a week, then I would try that.
Okay. So what you're saying is I can go back and roll rocks down there. I just have to let the fact that I smoked grandma not pervade my thoughts about could that happen again.
Totally.
Got it. I warned you I had this going on in my head.
This is a very interesting analogy or circumstance that you've concocted in your insomniac mind.
Yeah. That was like from 2:00 till 5:00 in the morning on Sunday.
God, that explains why you've just been off kilter all week.
Yeah. Because if I have to pass gas, it's not happening without some testing going on. And that testing involves me being in the bathroom. I'm not trying to be gross about this. I'm just trying to give enough detail level that you understand. And I gave a pretty good analogy of this. I don't want to smoke grandma with a rock again. I just don't. You have to see his face. He's thinking of all the ways that this is just stupid. And all I can tell you is it's stupider than anything you could possibly think because it took me 3 hours to come up with.
But okay. I don't need like, are you laying in bed? Or are you sitting up, or did you go out to the front room or something like that?
I'm laying in bed.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. Due to some social anxiety issues with my stepson, we like to give him full access to the living room. So it doesn't matter how sick I am, I'm in the bed. My wife will go out to the living room if somebody has to go to the living room just so that he has a space.
Interesting. Okay. It's very thoughtful of you.
Well, it sounds to me, it honestly sounds very selfish because I'm always sleeping in the bed, but it's a known thing in our family.
Selfish on whose part?
On my part, because I'm taking the bed and forcing my wife to use the couch in the situations where I just am intolerable to be in bed with, which I'm pretty sure she would say is all the time. But
yeah, she would.
Yes.
Now having met her, yes.
Yes. She'd say anything to get that reaction. So.
I have a illness. This is going to be a stretch, but and I do mean but. Today, a new statue was erected in DC outside of Union Station. It's the National Mall statue saluting the January 6th poopers.
Oh, God.
So it's a desk with a big bronze poo on it.
Yep.
And I'm going to read the plaque. This memorial honors the brave men and women who broke into the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021 to loot, urinate, and defecate throughout those hallowed halls in order to overturn an election. President Trump celebrates these heroes on January 6th as unbelievable patriots and warriors. This monument stands as a testament to their daring sacrifice and lasting legacy.
Shittiest monument ever.
It's amazing. I can't wait to go see it. I cannot wait to go see it.
Yeah. So, getting back to our illness, what's your favorite game that your brain likes to play when you're sick and you can't fall asleep?
Oh. What did you forget?
Oh God, that just must spiral you like crazy.
It's insane. It's insane. It goes because then you do, especially when you're sick. You're not in the best mental state typically anyway, or you're hopped up on meds or both, and you really start to doubt yourself. You really start to doubt tasks. Like, and I'm not talking like, did I turn off a curling iron or shut off the stove? It's like, did I bring the dog back inside? Did I
Uh,
eat?
you eat? Really?
Some days, but then it does. It snowballs. It gets worse and worse. And honestly, it's not like inane things. It gets heavier and deeper and darker. It like my mind just definitely goes down that, and then you start going. It will shift eventually to remember that time you did this. Remember that time you said this. Remember that Facebook post that you had to delete. That kind of stuff. It's
Yeah.
like the recall is atrocious, and I have no idea why I deserve it, brain. Thank you.
So I don't have that game in my head. My game that I came up with this past week
Oh,
was
wait. You're talking about games I come up with or games that my brain just does?
games that your brain just does.
Okay. That's what then I satisfy. Okay.
But mine comes up with interesting games. Like the game I was playing with my brain the other day is what's better than tacos? And it turns out there's nothing better than tacos.
Oh, we went down. Wait, are you gonna fucking walk down the goddamn sauce jam bullshit?
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, we could go there too. No, this was literally, I sat there for about 2 hours the other night trying to think of something that was better than tacos. And I've had no appetite the last week.
Are we
Like
talking soft shell, hard shell?
soft shell every time.
Okay, good. All right. Well, better than tacos.
The problem is that there's stuff that's better than tacos, but it's not apples to apples.
But like pizza.
It's not apples to apples with tacos. Okay,
Yeah.
because at a certain point, bad pizza isn't as good as marginal tacos.
Okay, then let me ask a qualifying question. Is there such thing as a bad taco?
Yes,
Hmm.
I've had bad tacos before. So, back when I worked for a major big box retailer, we did something called Talktober.
Oh.
And the idea was you had to eat a taco for every day in October at business lunches. And I decided I was going to get it done in the first week. So by the
31
time
tacos?
in 5 business lunches, yes.
Whoa.
Okay, so that's Taco John's 6 pack and a pound.
Oh, Taco John's. Get those potato olays. Let's go.
Yeah. So by the time I got to, so what happened was every day of those 5 days, I got my tacos from a different place. I couldn't go back to the same place. That was one of the things that we set out early. So I went to this place that after 4 straight days of eating a lot of taco meat, I was not really looking forward to eating tacos anyways. And then these were boiled chicken tacos.
Oh, that's the fucking worst.
And the shells were like the chalupa shell,
Uh-huh.
which, if with boiled chicken, just does not work. And then all they did was put on lettuce and a little bit of feta cheese. There's no sauce on it, nothing else.
Well,
Those
did they at
were
least give you sauce to dress it yourself?
no.
Oh, God.
So this was in the North Star building in downtown Minneapolis. And I choked down the last bite of that 6 taco because
Choke.
it was killing me to do.
You choke the chicken?
No, I choked down the chicken. Nice try, though. You just want to take take this back to being a porn. I get it.
Hey, I can't help that you're on ChatterBait.
But going back to something else you brought up, and I got you involved in this as well.
It was so fucking stupid.
Is gravy a sauce?
Oh, that's right. It was gravy. Yeah, I think we agreed that gravy is a sauce.
All gravies are sauces, but not all sauces are gravy. But then it turned into other things. Is ketchup a sauce?
But you went down the fruit path with that.
But answer the question first. Is ketchup a sauce?
I think so.
Okay. Then what about tomato soup?
But that's not a sauce. The consistency is not the same.
Okay. So what about tomato paste?
Still not a sauce.
Okay. So the consistency is the only differentiator then.
It's got to be, yeah.
Okay. So what about relish?
No, relish is relish.
Okay.
I think that's closer to a jam, even though it's a vegetable.
So here's, oh crap, I just had it and then my brain just lost it. The one that causes, I know what it was. Salsa.
It depends on which salsa.
Okay. So let's just talk about red tomato salsa.
Chunky
Consistency.
or smooth?
If consistency is the only defining factor, then smooth salsa is a sauce, but chunky salsa is not, even though it's the same constituent ingredients.
But yeah, yes, because I like think about like a smooth tomato salsa. You can drizzle that. It's drizzleable. Drizzleable? Sure.
Yes, let's go for it. Webster, please don't fact check us.
Yeah, don't do that, Jesus. But I think maybe that's the differentiator there. Can you drizzle it?
So all sauces have to be able to be drizzled.
I'm trying to walk through that, but I think that makes sense. Why am I going down this path with you again?
Why can't you drizzle chunky salsa on top of something?
Because it plops.
Okay.
It's gonna plop. It doesn't. It couldn't be like a smooth, like a pour. I'm doing a pour with my hand. It also looks like, I don't know why my pinky's out, but here we are. Whereas if you're doing like a chunky salsa, you're like plop, plop, plop. You're gonna get some on your shirt maybe, or the person next to you.
Okay, so first of all, I think you just invented pinky porn. Somebody out there is starting it. Second of all, then tomato soup that is a little bit too thick or salsa that is a little bit too thin falls out of your criteria. Therefore, a really runny salsa would be a soup and a really thick tomato soup would be a sauce.
But you can't, but hold on. No, that doesn't work. Because I was going to say hot and cold, but then gravy is hot typically.
Yeah. But ketchup, which we already agreed is a sauce, is cold.
Yeah. And salsa is cold.
Yep. Unless it's hot.
Have you ever had hot salsa?
Spicy. I was taking.
Okay. Huh. Yeah. I mean,
now think about this. Think about this. Most sauces are made with vegetables or animal drippings, which is, by the way, what we call one of our cats now is meat drippings. we got into this.
That poor cat.
I gotta remember to call him that again.
Oh, that's so
he has
good.
no clue, but that got into could you milk a deer? Because we determined that milk wasn't a sauce, but then could you milk a deer?
Yeah.
Okay. So what animals can't you milk? What mammals?
Assuming they all stay still.
Yes.
Dolphins?
Do dolphins have nipples? Oh, God. This is going in a bad spot,
Oh,
but I have
no!
to look up.
I'm
Do
gonna look.
dolphins have nipples?
I'm gonna look on my phone, not my work computer.
Dude, yes, dolphins have nipples, but they are not external and are exposed within mammary slits.
Mammary slits.
That's a word I never needed to hear in my life.
Oh man. Oh, interesting.
So, but yes, dolphins have nipples. So here's the extreme case that I went to that doesn't actually hold water, but I tried to argue it for a while. I said that ketchup is a jelly. Now, it doesn't have pectin in it, so it can't, but technically it has more in common with jelly than it does sauce.
I found mammals that can't be milked.
Uh-oh. Give the list. Let's hear it.
Momotrimus, which are egg-laying mammals similar to the platypus. And echidna. They are mammals that cannot be milked because they lack nipples. They release milk instead through ducts in their abdomen.
I don't want to know what that looks like.
I
have enough worries about the rock I'm going to roll when we get done with this episode. I don't want to find out about what milk coming out of abdomen slits looks like.
I already forgot the dolphin thing.
We're talking about animals that can't.
No. What was it called? The thing, the internal
mammary slits.
Mammary.
Yes.
It should be a band name.
See, we're not just stupid on here. We're educational as well.
We are. We're educating ourselves.
So,
but okay, so
ketchup can't be a jelly, but it acts like a jelly. But mustard.
Wait, how does it act like a jelly?
Because it can stand on its own.
Can it? If you put it on a plate, it'll disperse though.
Will it?
Yeah.
Test
I don't know. Hunts versus Heinz. We're gonna have to get some.
Is it gonna make a shell that's going to stop the expansion outwards before it ever expands?
I think it's too wet.
See, that depends. Do you release the ketchup water before you use the ketchup?
You gotta shake that shit. You can't release the ketchup water. That's fucking weird.
The worst part about the worst one than that is mustard water.
The mustard water is the worst. Yeah, exactly.
There's a little squirt that goes into the sink before I use the mustard.
And if you ever have mayonnaise water, throw it away.
Yeah. Yeah, that and sour cream. There's always that little bit of moisture in the sour cream. I make sure I go around that. I don't touch that stuff.
Yeah, that's like the mystery pool of water, like when you're walking around in Boston or something, like you're like, I'm going to avoid that at all costs. I would rather get hit by traffic.
Yeah. You don't want to play what is that liquid in Boston?
No. Oh, God, no. Oh, God. I have played that game on accident. I fell into a puddle. I stumbled and then my foot went all the way into it. So much so, I threw away the shoes and bought new ones while I was in Boston. I just wasn't willing to explore what could make the shoes better. I was just done with them.
So I had an incident in Chicago a couple of years ago where I was in a meeting that I had to rush to the airport after the meeting, and I was in the loop downtown. And it was 7:00 at night, so nothing's open. And I had to piss really bad. And that's the only time in my life that I've gone behind a dumpster in an alley in any major city, in any city, to be perfectly honest with you, and just pissed all over the place, all over the wall, all over the dumpster, everything.
It's kind of liberating, isn't it? In a weird way.
Oh, no, it's embarrassing for me because all it takes is one person to know what I'm doing back there. And that was not going to work well. And where I chose, as I started, I realized there was a door there, and I was absolutely sure somebody was going to open that door.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I would become a shy peer, to be fair, if that was the circumstance.
There was no choice at this point. It was coming out whether I wanted it to or not.
One of those circumstances.
Yeah, I had like 6 Cokes before I left the restaurant. It was, I was setting myself up for disaster. I was rolling rocks like crazy, and I just wasn't willing to smoke grandma that one extra time. So the other thing that I figured out, is that the Marvel Universe has lied to us.
You're going to have to track me on this one because
Yes.
I already admitted to you that I'm very behind.
So in Endgame, at one point, Mantis looks over at Doc Strange while they're on Titan, and he's moving his head, jerking it all over the place for effect. And she says, "Does your friend always do that?" And it turns out he's looking at every single possible reality. Okay, every single possible choice they could make. And I forget if it was 16 million choices or 16 billion, whatever it was. He comes back and he says, "There's only one."
Of course.
Okay. But then they go and they fight Thanos, and they almost have the glove off until Peter Quill starts talking to Thanos about where Gamora is. And, excuse me, defocuses Mantis a little bit and the rest of the team, and Thanos starts waking up from Mantis' spell. Well, all they had to do was have somebody blast Peter Quill halfway across Titan, and they would have been able to get the glove off. But apparently, that wasn't one of the 16 million choices that Doc Strange saw.
How is this a lie? I'm not tracking.
Because Doc Strange was supposed to see every single possible future when he had the Time Stone. But the Time Stone didn't show him every single possible future. Therefore, the Time Stone lied to him, or they lied about what the Time Stone is.
Is it bad that I still haven't seen this movie?
Yes, this is Endgame. This is like 8-9 years old now.
Yeah, I bet the CGI doesn't hold up to today's standards.
It's not bad. There's so much cheap CGI that goes on these days that I'm not going to complain about it. It's not something you're going to see a lot through. I mean, it's much worse than the animation from the 90s.
Speaking about illness and keeping it in the movie realm, we watched the new film Long Legs. Have you? I know you're not a horror or thriller fan typically, right?
Not a horror fan at all. I don't do well in violent movies.
So
like that type of violent movie.
Yeah, there was some violent parts, but overall it was more curious, I would say, than anything else.
My violence is John Wick.
You can handle John Wick?
Yeah. Okay, it's the gore and the jump scares and that sort of stuff.
This is way less than that. This is more psychological. Nicolas Cage is the bad guy in it.
Okay.
He is virtually unrecognizable, and you give the man consideration for some award, probably not an Oscar. It was so good. I mean, I've talked to my brother and my husband about it, but he feels like he's finally easing back into good movie roles instead of just taking whatever's thrown at him.
See, and ever since Raising Arizona, I really haven't liked Nicolas Cage.
He won an Oscar for Raising Arizona too, didn't he?
That's an amazing movie.
It is.
Just
John
in
Goodman
spite of
in
him
it too, right?
I believe it's John Goodman. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, might be Helen Hunt with him as well. I forget.
Oh, I think you're right. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
That's like a late 80s, early 90s movie.
Yeah, I think it was.
He still had a full head of hair at that point.
Yeah, I think it was early 90s is when it came out, because I think Big Lebowski wasn't too far after.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, if you have a moment to watch Long Legs, I do recommend it. I wasn't satisfied with the ending, and that part was supposed to be the scary part, but it really wasn't until it was. So
okay. So they waited for the climax for the absolute last second.
But I think what they consider the climax is different for me than it probably is for a lot of typical moviegoers.
Okay.
I interpreted the climax differently, and then it ended too abruptly for me.
Yeah. That's a sign of what I probably called it here before, but I call it Wesley Crusher syndrome.
Uh-huh.
When the absolute last second that they they cut the red wire with 0.1 second left. Okay, that sort of stuff that bugs the crap out of me.
This wasn't that. This was
Okay.
just there was a crescendo at two different wrong times, in my opinion, and that should have been met somewhere in between those two crescendos. But they kind of messed that up, and then they didn't let it taper off properly.
Got it. Okay. Well, maybe I'll look at it.
It's an interesting film. It's but it does have some gore, but nothing like. If you can handle John Wick shit, then you're fine. And they are making another John Wick as well.
But it's not going to be Keanu Reeves in it. It can't be. He died in the last one.
No, it is.
He died.
I haven't seen.
Is it going to be a prequel?
Maybe. But
spoiler alert: he dies at the end of the fourth one.
I'm just gonna watch that tonight. No.
Well, now you're not, because you know what happens. I saved you 2 hours. Because of the 4 John Wicks, this is not the best one. This is the all of a sudden they have to go take the cars into space sort of scenario. You know, they're jumping the shark on it. So coming up with the more impossible situations for him.
You know, now I'm reading now. It looks like John Wick 5 is not. It's in development, but the story will be different than what people think, and they're keeping it under wraps.
My guess is it's going to be flashbacks of his life.
I mean, they could do that. They haven't really done that. I mean, sub a few things.
Just with his wife, yeah.
Right, yeah.
So they could go back and talk about his time in Russia and that sort of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, there's actually interesting bits there, I think.
Yeah, it's just some of the character development in 3, they started to go very Matrixy with the characters, where the characters in 1 and 2 were very human people. These started becoming the eccentricities. I'm not even going to bother trying it a third time. I just can't do it. They're the eccentric people.
Yeah.
So, and that's what always bugs me about stuff like that is when they decide that they don't know where else to go. He's just at this point the most prolific serial killer assassin on the planet because he just shoots everybody.
But is he a superhero?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Why?
What's his superpower?
I guess not dying.
Okay. Isn't that how most superheroes survive, is by not dying?
Yeah, so then by that definition, shouldn't he be deemed a super... But he did die, I guess.
Yeah. And so by that definition, I'm a superhero.
He just haven't died yet. Coming.
Okay. Is James Bond a superhero?
No, they keep changing.
But he hasn't died. So is James Bond the character, not the actor? Is he a superhero?
True, because they can have multiple different 007 agents. So hypothetically, they could have died.
That's all been the same Bond the entire time. Have you not paid attention to the lore? That is the same Bond.
That didn't make any sense.
They went back in Quantum of Solace and those ones. They went back and told some of his backstory.
I haven't seen Quantum.
God, that movie's 15 years old.
I'm actually 2 Bond films behind right now.
It has Christoph Waltz in it. How could you miss that?
Did they announce the new Bond yet?
I don't know. Bond is not my, I'm going to go out of my way to see it.
If it's on, I'll watch it type thing.
Yeah. I mean, I went and saw Deadpool in the theater, the third one, and that's probably the first movie we've watched in the theater in years. I'm not a theater goer. It has to be something special. And to be honest with you, I was disappointed in it.
Interestingly enough, though, to pull from Deadpool, Ryan, it's not
Reynolds.
Gosling. Thank you. I want to say Gosling, is championing for Wesley Snipes to get his 4th Blade film, and it's gaining a lot of traction. And Marvel has now pulled the Mahershala Ali Blade from 2025 schedule indefinitely.
Interesting.
It's interesting because that's in the can from what I understand. So I wonder if it's not testing well.
Yeah, that could be it. I also had a major epiphany the other night again while I was sweating. Here's the most unpopular take you're going to hear. Okay?
Is it about Blade or Mahershala Ali?
Deadpool.
Okay.
Deadpool is just Penelope with superheroes and dick jokes.
How?
Because it's all about him gaining acceptance in himself that his girlfriend is going to accept him the way that he looks. He has to like himself before she can like him. Penelope with dick jokes and superheroes.
It's actually not a bad theory.
Yeah, I tweeted it to Ryan Reynolds and he didn't say anything.
Yet.
Well, he's like 4 days behind on his tweets if he's going to say anything about it.
Or his publicist is.
Yeah. So, or they thought, oh, here's another one.
You think that's come up before?
I'm not saying Penelope. I'm saying, oh, Deadpool is just a ripoff of XYZ. I'm sure there's lots of people that have said that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
The proposal is just a ripoff of the wedding date or whatever. I don't know. You didn't call me out on the fact that I know both the wedding date and the proposal.
But I do too. So it's not like which I know it like fits the territory more for me to know it, but whatever.
My wife has made me watch those movies countless times.
Well, like I'm watching, I'll admit this, I'm watching Love is Blind, Washington, D.C. edition right now.
Oh, God. This is why I don't have cable TV.
It's on Netflix.
I don't watch, I don't go looking for new stuff on Netflix. I let my wife find the new stuff. She's watching some show right now with a bunch of Jewish guys, and one of them is a rabbi, and he's getting into a relationship, and I don't know what it's called, but it's horrible.
Space lasers.
Yeah, it's Bridgerton warfare.
Maybe I'll message her to check out Love is Blind.
You hate me. I get it. The Temp, but you hate me.
It's so good. I've just dawned on me that I have a power that I've not wielded.
Yeah, you forget that I still have your existing address and all your mail will get forwarded for a little bit. Yes. Use your power wisely. With great power comes great responsibility.
Huh. I hadn't thought about that until that very moment.
Yes, because I don't know if you know, but you can get live Black Widow spiders sent to somebody's house.
Really?
There was a woman that ordered Black Widow spiders because somebody was stealing stuff off of her porch. And then the guy tried to sue her. But to sue her, he had to admit that he stole the box off of her porch. You know, the culpability is fully on him.
Did he get bit?
She said, they're my pets, and then countersued him. Yeah, he got bit. She countersued him for killing her spiders.
That's kind of brilliant.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, nobody steals stuff off of our porch. We're in too private of a neighborhood for it to be valuable for anybody to do. But I would just love that one time to figure out that absolute perfect thing to send somebody. You know, the pig animal that won't stop squealing no matter how hard you try smashing that thing.
Have you seen the TikTok videos of the people that go up to the little children's toy that records your kid's voice or whatever.
The
And they,
cactus.
yeah, well, no, they have another one that plays a bunch of music that
Uh,
if you make like a sexual noise, it sounds like it's like porn music in the background to it.
uh,
Oh
I've
my
seen the one with
God.
the cactus. I saw
Yeah.
somebody that had 7 huskies that once the first one howled at that thing, all of them just sat there one by one going
Yeah.
off and they could not stop them. They had to
Yeah.
take the batteries out of the thing to get them to stop.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, it's amazing. I love that shit so much. Yeah, it's something else. Oh, it's a big day tomorrow. I'm just gonna take this back to my personal. We'll get there. News. Two things happen tomorrow. One, Lady Gaga releases her new single "Disease."
I thought you were going to say something personal. I thought this was actually going to be valuable for people to know.
I am going to say something personal. That's the second thing.
But I thought both of them were going to be personal.
It's personal because I've been in the top 0.1% of listeners on Spotify Wrapped for her 2 years running. I won't make it this year. There's no way. That's okay. But two, I do close on my new house tomorrow.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited about that, to get out
Yep.
of this apartment that backs up to dumpsters.
Yeah. When my wife finally decides it's over, just remember that downstairs apartment's mine.
Deal. You'll have a place. You won't like the taxes here, but
taxes? I'm not paying no stinking taxes.
if you make money, you kind of have to. Here,
I'll just say that I'm still working somewhere else.
In Texas would be the smart place because there's no
Yeah.
income tax.
So, anyways, Ryan, get us out of this hellhole we're in.
Yeah, I think we need to thank everyone for coming on this illness journey with us. And apologies for making you all wait for so long, but we've had some moments between now and back when we started feeling kind of off.
Hurry up, I got to roll a rock, buddy.
Oh my God. All right. So until next time, please reach out to us with any questions, feedback, ideas, repressedhumorissues@gmail.com. But Dan, let's TikTok and chill.
Joe, what is your poem about?
My poem's about something very important to me. It's about how come it's okay to name you Willie, but it's not okay to name the fella's Willie next to you at the urinals. So my poem's called Hanging About in a Train Station Toilet Naming People's Penises. Hello, commuter, on your way to work. I'm going to call yours Captain Birdseye. Because it looks like it's wearing a polo neck and winking at me. You're welcome. I just named your penis. Hello, train driver who's just nipped in for a piss. I'm going to call yours Mrs. Fernsby. My old geography teacher. Because you're small and wrinkly and have a birthmark down the side of your shaft. You're welcome. I just named your penis. Hello, please. Hello, please.
Stop.
Hello. Hello, police officer. Hello, police officer who's just been sent to the toilets because they've had reports of someone naming people. You can't arrest me for naming strangers' dogs. Oh, you can. I didn't know that. Oh, great. Now I'm electronically tagged again.
Oh my God, that will never get old. Oh,
Never,
it's so-
ever, ever.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, just every single time it gets me.
Oh,
So just
my
seeing
God.
Sean Locke over there when he says stop, you could
Please
tell he
stop.
was in pain
Oh yeah,
with the amount of laughing that he had done. So,
he was about to roll a rock.
wow, way to take it back to that. You know, there's a beer called Rolling Rock. We better be careful with that.
Oh, that piss water.
Because if that gives you the shits.
Oh God.
Oh,
Oh my God.
okay.
Yeah. Well. Anyway.